What's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can build a fully functional outbound voice AI caller using GoHighLevel, VAPI, and Make step by step. You'll learn how to trigger calls the moment a lead submits a form, send dynamic contact data directly into the call script, and set up a scalable drip-fed outbound system that works across any niche. I'm also going to show you how to troubleshoot issues like call concurrency limits, set your prompts for better qualification, and test everything using a free Google Voice number, okay? Whether you're brand new to GHL or you're already building voice AI workflows, this is the most complete and practical tutorial you'll find on using VAPI with Make. Let's get started. Hey there, guys. Welcome back. Today, I'm going to show you how to create a simple GHL outbound caller using VAPI, GHL, and Make. All right. So I'm going to try to keep this as simple as possible so you guys can see the power that you can behind what you can build with GHL as the sort of foundation of automation and logic with these outbound callers. Okay. That's what I want you guys to take away from this. All right. So let's get started. So first things first, we're going to be start with GHL. All right. So we're going to go to sites. And over here, we're going to go up to forms, go to form builder. Okay. And then here where we have an insurance lead form. So I created this. And this one's pretty basic. So this is going to be simulating some sort of ad that is advertising and marketing for annuities. Okay. And so people will find this on Facebook or Google, wherever this ad might be. They'll put in the information and then they are going to get a call immediately in order to further qualify them and set up an appointment. All right. So what we want to do is we have some basic contact fields here: first name, last name, phone, email. And we also have some qualifying questions, right? So typically, if people are looking for an annuity, that you want to get some of this basic information from them. Okay. And so I also set up a VAPI agent. Okay. So I already built this pretty simple script, nothing too crazy. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the outbound caller to insert those dynamic variables. Okay. So the answers to these questions into the prompt. So when this VAPI agent calls them, it'll have this information and it can dynamically sort of react to their answers and further qualify them with more questions. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. And so the first thing we want to do is get the workflow set up in GHL. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. So what we're going to want to do is go to automation. And also real quick before I do that, we're going to go back to our form. And I want to show you that when you're creating these, first, I like to just create the form, no styling, because you can just embed this into your landing page, right? That can be styled however you want the landing page. This doesn't need to really be styled, so you can just use this, okay? Very simple and straightforward that way. And then, I mean, it's pretty basic setup here, okay? If you want to add more fields, if you want to add the city, okay, just drop it there. If you wanted to get their city, actually, now that I think of it, it's oftentimes they put the state for annuities. So we'll go ahead and put that in there. Click save. And yeah, you can just drop things. If you wanted to do more fields, you add them in here. If you wanted to create custom fields, see, I have retirement goal, retirement timeline, financial advisor. These are when these are inputted, they are assigned to these different values here. Okay, so it's important to, if you want to create custom fields and be able to manipulate them later and send them to other platforms, you want to create those fields so it becomes much easier to work with them in the GHL workflows or the automation, right? So I hope that makes sense. So now let's go over to automation. And let's get our automation set up so we can actually start reaching out to these people when they put in their information. So we're going to go create new workflow, start from scratch here. There's templates from GHL they provide, but we're just going to start from scratch. All right, so the first trigger we want to add, right, and this is very similar to make.com, right, or any other type of automation platform. There's always a trigger to begin, even with email marketing automation, right? So what we want to do is first, let's say we have multiple lead forms, right? Not that just the insurance one, but we have other lead forms for different products, okay? In this hypothetical scenario. But we don't want everyone to be called with the AI caller, the VAPI caller. What some people do is they'll set up when a new contact is created, then they can be put into the workflow. If you do that, that means every contact that comes into your GHL account will be called. We might not necessarily want that. So what we're going to do is first, we're going to add a contact trigger, okay? A tag trigger. So what we're going to do, tag added, okay? And we're going to select, sorry, this is not the first one. First we're going to do is lead form, okay? Form submitted. Form is insurance form, okay? So we're choosing this form. So when a submission happens on this form, what's going to happen is we're going to save that first. That's the trigger, right? Then what we're going to do is add a contact tag. And I have one already set up here. It's called AI caller, okay? Pretty simple. And then we're going to hit save, okay? So now every time someone submits their information in the insurance lead form, they're going to get added with a tag called AI caller. Okay. So we're going to hit publish for this because that's done. Now we're going to go back and we're going to create another. Well, let's also name this AI caller tag added. All right. So that's what this automation does. Now that's saved. We'll go back. We're going to create another workflow from scratch. And now this trigger is going to be when that tag gets added. Okay, then this is going to be the automation that calls them. So contact tag added, AI caller. All right, and we're going to save that trigger. So now every time someone gets this tag added, or it could be from another automation we create, they're going to be placed into the VAPI calling workflow. Okay. Now, there's a bunch of things you can do when we're creating these automations. I'm going to show you the most simple way to do this. But, if you wanted to use also like SMS, you could send an SMS as soon as they input their information as well. All right, multi-channel marketing. You could also do an email, right? Send email. So in this simple way, we're already reaching out to them on 2 channels now. Okay, we haven't even built the voice caller yet. Okay, so this is why, for outbound purposes, for marketing purposes, GHL is the most robust platform when you wanting to build these dynamic and complex caller automations, right? Which you can do really a lot of things with. So another thing of note here, it's important. If you're working with a client or your business has a lot of leads they're calling for whatever reason, whether it's you have 1,000, so you have like a lead list with 10,000 B2B leads that you want to all call, okay? If you put them all in this workflow at the same time, it's going to break, okay? Because there's a limit to how many calls VAPI can call at once. The default is 10 call concurrency limit. You can get more, but you're not going to get anywhere near 10,000, okay? That's crazy. So to solve that, you would want to put it in drip mode. So this is set up to do one call every 1 minute. Okay. You might want to lower that. You could do one call every 30 seconds, right? Depending on how many calls you're making, right? And you want to factor in things like the length of the call, how many people you think are going to pick up, all these things, and how many contacts you have is the most important one. But this way, it will prevent your automations from breaking because you can't call them all at the same time. You have to, space it out. So, but for when you're testing, you don't want this because it'll take forever. Okay. All right, we're going to delete all this because we don't want to create these right now. So we're going to set up the caller. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create a webhook. So what this is going to do, this is going to be the webhook that is posted to Make. And we're going to use Make as the intermediary instead of just going straight to VAPI, calling it that way. We're going to use Make because it's much easier to troubleshoot using Make or N8N or another automation platform when you're creating these callers, okay? Because you know exactly what went wrong, if it was bad data, or if it was, an overload. It's much easier to pinpoint these problems when you're using an intermediary automation platform like Make or N8N. So now we need to get our webhook, okay? The URL. So we're going to head over to Make, and we're going to create a new webhook. We're going to add a new one. So let's do my GHL VAPI demo hook. All right, click Save. So we're going to copy this now. Paste that in there, and that's good to go. We'll label this VAPI caller. Hit Save. So that's ready to go, but we haven't set up the custom data, okay? So these are the dynamic variables that we're actually going to send to Make, and then which will be sent to VAPI to create the call and call us when we put in our information, all right? So we want to set up these variables. First name, okay? Last name, phone number, contact phone, email. What did we have? We had state. We'll do contact state. So let's see if we can. Here we go, state. All right. And now we want to input the three dynamic variables that we had before, that we created, okay? So those are going to be retirement goal. And to find these, all we're going to do is come over here, go to contact, not custom values, sorry, contact, custom fields. So we'll do retirement goal, okay? Boom. Then we're going to do retirement timeline. And then last, financial advisor. And contact fields, financial advisor. All right. So we're going to save that. And we're going to click publish and hit save. So now we'll label this VAPI GHL demo. So what we want to do is save that. Let's make sure this is the same webhook we created. Yep, that's good. Okay. So now, if we run this, okay, run once. When we go to input to use the lead form now, and we put in our details, it should go through the automations and come here so we can build the rest of this workflow out. All right. So let's go back over here. This is on. This looks good. Save action. All right. Save that. Come back here. Now let's go back to our sites. Builder, forms, and hit preview. So we're going to put in our information. All right, so we'll say our financial goal is retirement income. How soon are you planning to retire? 1 to 5 years. Currently work with a financial advisor? No. Sent. So now when we click this, it should end up here. Boom. Look at that. Perfect. All right, so now that we have this in here, we can go ahead and create the calling section for the calling module for VAPI. So we'll actually input all these details we created into the caller, and then it will give us a call. All right. So what we want to do now is create a simple, well, first, sometimes best practices is to set the variables. I like to do this a lot, okay? These variables coming in, I will set them because make.com, it works faster and more efficiently when you're setting the variables. It can manipulate these and send them to automations faster than if it's pulling it from one back here, okay? So theoretically, if you had a very long automation, it'd be very much more helpful to set the variables early from the data from the webhook so you can manipulate them and send them quicker throughout the rest of the automation, okay? I hope that makes sense. So this variable name is going to be first name. All right, looks like we got all our variables here set correctly. Hit save. And now what we want to do is that's set up. We're going to save. So this is ready to go, but we want to run it so it sets these multiple variables before we set up the last HTTP request module to call VAPI. So we're going to save back out to here, okay? And I'm going to show you, instead of inputting our information again, okay, we're going to go back. We're going to go to automation. So this workflow right here, we're going to test workflow, select the contact. All right. My contact name's already there. And we're going to go run test. So now that came in. Okay. We have this again. Now all our variables are set. Perfect. So now we're going to set up HTTP request module. make a request. All right. So now I'm going to show you exactly how to create a simple outbound caller request to VAPI's API. All right. And this is going to be the most simple and illuminating demo you've seen of this yet. So first we want to get the URL. How do we find that? We're going to go to VAPI. All right. We're going to go to the docs. So we're going to go to documentation. So let's just go real quick to creating a call. Where's the outbound caller? Okay. So I used to be afraid of reading the docs because I'm not a developer by trade. So every time I would see docs and I'd see code, I'd get freaked out and my brain would shut down. Okay. Now I have gotten over this for the most part. And depending on, the documentation of the platform, they can be very, very helpful once you know what you're looking for. Okay. This isn't really what we want to use. Okay. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. We're going to go to the API reference. All right. And I don't want you to get alarmed or anything. I'm going to show you a really simple way to figure this out. So these are different things we can do with the API. Okay. These are different calls we can make to VAPI's API to get data, to create things, tools, callers, squads, okay? And when you start developing more complex callers or solutions using VAPI's platform, you're not going to want to use the visual drag and drop builder like this, okay? It's the more you build these, the more you'll see that this is very limited to do it this way. What you want to do is go to the API. So what we want to do is create a call, okay? So we're going to click this, a post request. A post request is doing something. It's not just getting data, but it's actually making an action happen, right? Essentially. So over here is, these are all sort of ways you can set up the call request, all right? And I'm going to show you a really straightforward way we're going to do this. So first up here is the URL that we were looking for originally, okay? So this is what we're going to put here. Boom. That's ready. We're going to change this to a post because, right, we said we're posting. We want to have an action take place. We're not just using a GET request to get data, okay? We're actually changing the state of something on VAPI's server side, right? We're back here, and we're going to click play. So now what we're going to do is you could create a call just in this little platform right here they have, okay? You'd put your bearer token in, okay, which is your API key. You put it right here, all right? And then you could create the call itself, and then if I click this, it would call whatever number I have set up, all right? But what we want to do is get some JSON that we can use to copy and put it inside of our body type here, or sorry, our query string, all right? No, body, raw, JSON. All right, we would put it in here. We don't need any query parameters, I don't think. We might need a header, but let's find out. Okay, so first things first, we need the assistant ID. This is so it knows which assistant to use to call the number, okay? So we're going to go to VAPI, and our assistant ID is up here, okay? Copy that. Put that right in here. So that's set up. Now, assistance overrides, all right? I'm going to go into another detailed video on inbound dynamic variables, but essentially when you're doing these overrides, this is the date. It's the data you are sending the agent, the overrides, to the dynamic variables, okay? and essentially overrides the default state of the prompt. Okay, just think of it like this: it's overriding the default state and also injecting these dynamic variables in them. That's the way I think of it, at least. Okay, so we're going to click this, and you can see it forming over here. All right, we don't need a lot of stuff. In fact, what we need is this: variable values. Okay, these are the values that will be used to replace the template variables and the assistant messages and other text-based fields. Okay, this uses liquid.js syntax. So you can see examples here of the way these dynamic variables work. So we're going to click that. We don't need any of this other stuff. See it pop up over here now? All right. Now, what we also need is the phone number ID. This is the phone number ID of the phone number we're using in VAPI. So this is the number that will be used to call the agents. When we get the ring, it's going to use this number. So we don't even need to set it up in here. Okay, we'll just use the ID. Copy this ID. It's the phone number we have. We'll go back here, and we're going to add a new item. Sorry. Go down here. We're going to look for phone number ID. It's not showing up. Oh, it's down here. Okay. It's phone number ID. Click this. So now we have phone number ID here. And also under customer ID, this is important because this is going to be the number that we call. We're going to click number. Okay. And for phone number ID, we can go ahead and put that in there. So that we'll have that now. All right, so we got these. This is the bare bones of what we need now. Okay, so we're going to take this. We're going to copy this. What I like to do, so we know that that's not right. All right, and I think this looks good. So we're going to copy that, come back over here, put that in the request content. Okay. So important now. We have to create the values, the variable values for the dynamic variables. All right. All right, so that looks good. What we also want to do is for the customer number, this is important to put the number in there, okay? Because it's not calling based off this, right? VAPI's servers read this customer number in order to call the right number, okay? But this looks good. So now all we need to do is create the headers and we'll be good to go. And I'm going to double check that this is formatted correctly. And that looks good. Perfect. All right. So we're going to save that. So we're going to have two headers. So if we look back here, this right here, these H's, these are the headers. Okay, so we need authorization bearer. and then our token, our API token. And then we need content type application JSON. So we're going to do this, copy that. Well, first we'll do authorization. All right. All right, so now all that's left to do is what we're going to do is I'm going to copy my organization ID. So in VAPI, you come down here and API keys, private key, and hit copy. So then you'd paste that in here. I'm going to paste it in here, and I'm going to click save, and then this is going to be good to go. All right. All right, so this scenario should be set up to, for the next time I run it, it will call me on my Google Voice phone, okay? And I don't know if I mentioned this before, guys, but get a Google Voice number. It's super easy. It's free. And if you have a number in the US, you automatically have 2 numbers now, and you can use these to test automations much more quickly without having to use your phone, okay? It's been a lifesaver for me. So that looks set up. We're going to double check we save this. We're going to refresh this. All right. So this automation is on. Now we're going to back out and we're going to test, and I should get a call once I put in my lead information again. All right. Once I run this test. X out of this. All right, here we go. Look at that. We're getting the call.
Hi, Gavin. I'm a virtual assistant with Golden Annuities. You recently filled out a form about annuities, and I wanted to follow up. Do you have a moment to chat?
Yeah, I got a moment.
Great. I see that your primary financial goal is retirement income, and you're planning to retire in 15 years. Additionally, you mentioned that you are not currently working with a financial advisor. Does all of that sound correct?
Yes, I was actually planning on retiring in 1 to 5 years.
Got it, Gavin. Thanks for clarifying. So you're planning to retire in 1 to 5 years. Let's move on to a few questions to better understand your situation. 1, what is your current employment status? Are you employed, self-employed, retired, or unemployed?
I'm not employed right now.
Thanks for sharing that, Gavin. Next, what is your estimated annual income? Would you say it's under $50 K, between $50, $100 K, or over
Yeah,
$100
it's under
K?
50K right now. I'm not employed, so I'm not really making much money.
Thank you for sharing that, Gavin. Lastly, how comfortable are you with investment risk? Would you describe it as low, moderate, or high?
Low right now.
Thank you for your responses, Gavin. Based on the information you've provided, it seems like an annuity might not be the best fit for your current financial situation, especially considering your income and need for liquidity. However, if your circumstances change or if you have any other financial questions in the future, feel free to reach out. Have a great day, Gavin.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're-
All right, so it worked. First try, which is great. And so all the data went through. We sent the call off, and it worked. Okay. It read as 1 to 5 years, as 15 years. All right, this can be fixed. with the prompting, of course. You explicitly say, hey, if it says 1-5, this means 1 to 5 years, not 15. And that's how you iteratively improve on these prompts, right? And it also followed my directions in the prompt. So at the end here, I said, why is it not a good fit for an annuity? Okay. Not everyone is a good fit for an annuity program. Less than 50K in savings, need for high liquidity, blah, blah, blah. So I was unemployed and I had less than 50K income. So the agent recognized this and went ahead and said that was not a good fit, which is great because we don't want to just be able to pressure people into buying annuities when they're not a good fit, right? So if you prompt these agents right, they definitely and easily have the ability to qualify people on sales calls, okay, to get an appointment booked. So, guys, I hope you learned a lot from this and how easy it is to set up these outbound callers. This is just the basics, but when you see how the workflows work in GHL and how easily you can connect using Make to VAPI and create these dynamic calls with these scripts, then you can see the power of creating outbound marketing automations and offering a package of like SMS, email, and voice AI calling to whatever niche. It's super powerful and a no-brainer for a lot of different industries. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.